Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again, and this is part 2 of my shopping list for my bronze account. So in this video we're going to go through Untamed cards. We're also going to go through Asmare dice, since that's a very small set. So some of the cards that I've highlighted, we'll start with the commons. So let's take a look at those. So some of the first cards I want to talk about are probably overlooked cards like Nectar Queen and Phantasm. So Nectar Queen and Phantasm I think are both great cards, simply because a lot of times in lower leagues or in any league you'll find rule sets where there's Earthquake and you need some flying creatures, and sometimes those can be hard to find. These are two very cheap cards that you can put in your deck, 4 cents and 5 cents for the Earth and Death Splinter to give yourself flying. Ant Miners is kind of a filler card. For bronze, it's probably not the greatest. I mean, it's not as good as it is in some higher levels. You start getting, the shield to make it a little bit more survivable. But sometimes you just need that 2-mana filler card. Sometimes you can also have the rule sets where melee can attack from anywhere. This thing is going to get bigger as things die. So it's not really a 5-star card, but it is definitely a card that you'll want to add to your collection. Especially as cheap as it is. 4 cents, you can't really go wrong. Some other cards I think are good to target are something just as simple as a Sniping Narwhal. I wish it was 4 mana instead of 5, but that being said, to get 2 snipe damage right off the bat for a single copy of a card. In Wild, it's all about choices. It's all about variety. The more cards that you can have, the better. The more cards you can have in your deck to kind of confuse the bots, the better. So when you can get cards under 10 cents that have at least a little bit of utility, it's really going to go a long way in bronze and wild. Other cards to target, even something like Nightmare. I mean, you definitely want to get this above level 1 so you can get it to level 2 to get that extra melee damage. But Blast can be really key. Kind of an overlooked card, and I've played against this card a couple of times. Wished I had it in my deck, so I need to pick this card up. Is something as basic as Kobold Bruiser. I mean, it doesn't have any abilities. You just kind of want to overlook the card. You really only need to get a single copy of it, but for 3 mana to get that 2 melee damage, and you pair that with Tarsa, you're looking at 3 damage for 3 mana, which is very good. And there's a lot of times you'll get those rule sets where, all monsters have sneak or melee can attack from anywhere, and this card becomes very powerful and very deadly if you're going up against it. So that is another card that I want to kind of point out. Sandworm and Warrior of Peace. So let's talk about Sandworm. So this is a reward card. This is one of the first reward cards that I got when I first started playing. Neutral card, I love it. Great for high mana matches. 5 speed is just, or 5 damage is just killer. You guys, if you played up against Sandworm, especially back in the day, you know how powerful it is. So great card to pick up, and it's only 12 cents. Another good card for life is Warrior of Peace with Demoralize. If you are playing this in Wild and you're playing life and you can pair this with Disintegrator and give the opponent -2 melee attack, that's huge. So this is kind of another card. You only need a single copy of it. Great for no melee rule sets. 9 mana. The mana cost is a little high at 7, but it's got really good speed. It's going to be a little bit hard to hit with that 5 speed, 9 mana plus Demoralize. It's just got a lot of versatility. Wish it was neutral, so you can only use this in Life Splinter, but good card. What other good cards are there to talk about? A lot of these are just good filler cards, like Maggots. Not the greatest card, but it has opportunity. Lone Boatman, 2 range damage. If you can get that right off the bat, you get 2 range damage and snipe. Especially you compare it with General Sloan. He's kind of an overlooked summoner, but there's a lot of good archery cards for white, especially in Untamed, so you want to look for that. Herbalist is another good card to get, but you want to get it to level 3. Level 1, it's really not the greatest. you know, very slow, but you get level 3, all of a sudden you get that cleanse. So there's not many cards for common at level 3 that get an extra ability. Usually they just get an extra speed or an extra health. So this one actually does lose a health, but picking up that cleanse could be key, especially if you're going in poison rule sets. So Herbalist, if you get that card, you definitely want to get it at level 3. Undead Badger, where are you at? This is a card I use a lot. Just 1 BCX of it. 2 mana, good filler card. Put it in the back. Use it for sneak. So another one where you don't need multiple copies of this card. You know, a single card is good. Parasitic Growth. This card I really like. I mean, it's Little League. It's 4 mana. Neutral, so you can fit it in anywhere. Has opportunity. If you want to spend the money to get a level 3, it does get that extra attack. So kind of up to you. I mean, I would like to get this to level 3. Don't know how often I'll play it, but like I said, it's great for Little League. Fits right at that 4 mana cap. And 2 opportunity damage that you can throw in any team, you know, is really good. So, but like I said, you have to make the commitment to get 14 copies of this card. So many good cards to pick from. Let's see, what's another good one I want to mention? Feasting Seaweed. That's probably a card nobody plays, but if you can get it once again to level 3, all of a sudden now you're looking at 3 melee damage with opportunity. Now the speed is slow, but of course, you know, you always have those reverse speed rule sets. But even still, Little League card, you can put this in, and that 3 melee damage can be very annoying. Even at level 1, you know, 2 opportunity damages, you know, nothing to overlook. But if you want to make the investment, just remember, level 3, this will get you that 3 melee damage. Any other good ones? So some of the best ones that I want to talk about, and you guys already know, because I'm sure you've played these cards or played against these cards, are pretty much what I call the big 3 of Untamed commons. Goblin Thief. Everybody plays Magic. For Earth, it seems like, you know, because of the +1 Magic Summoner, but don't overlook Goblin Thief. To be able to get, this fits in Little League, Sneak, 2 melee damage. A lot of times if you're coming up against another Earth team, you can go Magic if you want, but just throw this guy in. This guy will be great for attacking the back line and maybe getting rid of that annoying healer in the back, and this is going to give you an advantage. I think you really only need 1 copy of it. Don't worry about getting it to level 2 or 3. You know, that 1 extra speed or health's not important. The main thing is that 2 damage hitting the back line for Earth. The other cards you guys probably know. Serpentine Spy. Love this card. Level 3 is tempting. Even level 2 is tempting simply because of that 1 speed. A lot of times you'll have basically Spy against Spy, and it's just a question of, you know, who attacks first. So if you want to just spend that extra, I think it's only maybe $1 to get 4 more copies, get that 1 extra speed to give you a jump on his Spy. I mean, I can remember when this card was easily $2 or a little over $2 a BCX. Now you're looking at 25, 26 cents a copy. If you don't have one already and you're playing in Bronze, definitely get 1 copy of this card if you're playing in Wild. But once again, remember, sometimes just that small edge will give you an advantage. So for an extra $1, if you can get him to level 2, bump that speed up, you're going to attack before your opponent, and that's going to be key. And then finally, for the commons, one that everyone knows about, Failed Summoner. You know, 2 mana. You know, Earth is heavy into magic, so with that Magic Reflect is great. If you want to spend the extra BCX, leveling it up to 3 to get a couple extra health to make it a little bit more survivable, you can. I think you really only need 1 copy at level 1. Right now, you know, if you don't have any of these cards, concentrate first on getting some of them just 1 BCX copy just so you have them in your deck. And once you get your decks kind of fleshed out, then you can go ahead and level these up later if you feel like you need to. But for now, just concentrate on getting 1 for the Failed Summoner. Just get a single copy. The rares, once again, there is a very good list of rares to get in Untamed. Starting with a card, and I even 1-starred it. You guys may not think it's that important of a card, but I find it very, very useful. is the Grim Reaper, especially if you're going up against, like I said, those Earth Magic teams. I mean, he's a little bit high mana with 6, but 3 melee or 3 range damage is huge for a level 1 card, and this affliction is key. If you can get an affliction on your opponent's tank and he can't heal it, this can really make the difference in a lot of battles. So I 1-starred it. I mean, at 14 cents, it's very, very affordable. If you love playing the Death Splinter, there's really no reason why you shouldn't have just 1 copy of this card in your deck. Another card that I don't think I've ever played against, but it's actually a decent card, is the Gloridax Soldier. I mean, it doesn't quite fit in Little League, but it has flying, so if you come up against the Earthquake rule sets, it has shield, makes it a little bit survivable. It's decent. It's on the border. It's a card. There's not a whole lot of cards, I guess, for Dragon that are affordable, so if you can pick up a copy of this and you like to play Dragon, you can. Like I said, the shield gives it a little bit of survivability, but the main thing that I liked about it is, just in those Earthquake rule sets, being able just to have a flying card out there. Temple Priest, anytime you can play a magic card in bronze, you want to play something with a couple magic damage, low mana matches and everything else in bronze and low silver, you want magic damage. So Temple Priest, very affordable, 16 cents. It's got that 2 magic damage. Luminous Eagle, this is another card I think is great. This, I think, did I 1-star it? If I didn't, I probably should have. Did I give him a star? No. Luminous Eagle, I think, deserves a star. This is a card I think you really want to target, especially if you play Life. Having flying, having reach, you've got 2 melee damage, which is decent. Average speed, okay hit points, but just an all-around very good card you can use in different situations. You can use an Earthquake, you can put this behind your Shield Bearer. Just a nice card to have, so definitely a card you want. Captain's Ghost, another reason I love this card is Affliction. There's so many times you come up against teams and all they do is just to keep healing their tanks, so a little bit pricey with the 7 mana, but 2 magic damage again. You got good magic damage. You've got Affliction. He's got good health. So for 19 cents, I don't think you can go wrong with that card. Bone Golem. A lot of times in Wild, people love to play the Cursed Wendigo. If you're playing against Earth, you're going to come up against that Magic team. This card can be key. Just get a single BCX of it. You don't need multiple copies of this card, but once again, it's all about choice. So, if maybe you can't play your Curse Wendigo, maybe it's an odd rule set instead of even, and you're like, okay, do I have a tank I can throw in that's either 5 or 7 mana? Go ahead and throw this guy in, and he's going to help protect you against magic damage teams. One of my favorite cards is, I probably think, the Efreet Elder. I love this guy with Last Stand. I love the cheesy low mana team of putting Pyre as my summoner for 3, putting the Mark's Rat in front for 3, and putting the Efreet Elder behind it. The Mark's Rat dies, which buffs his stats up, and then he gets Last Stand. So kind of a fun deck to play. Once again, he's cheap. He's only 23 cents. Single copy of it. You can't go wrong to have this card in your deck. And it's fun when it works. It's fun when you can actually play that team and pull it off. This was a reward card from back in the day, Silver Shield Sheriff. Good 3 range damage, which is 4 with General Sloan. Snipe can be deadly. High mana cost, but he's got an okay speed, good hit points. Once again, no reason not to have a copy of it in your team. Same thing with Phineas Rage. A little bit pricey, but very, very fast, very good hit points, and that reach makes it a good card to have. Just looking at my list real quick to see if there's any other cards I wanted to specifically talk about that I may have missed. Fire Elemental. This is another card I played up against a lot when I first started playing the game. Good speed with Blast, so he's probably going to get the Blast out right away. So nice card to have. Like I said, once again, just need a single copy of it. Good to have. Serpent of Eld. If you're not playing against Magic, this is a great card to put in the first position. Very hard to hit with that dodge and 4 speed. It can be very annoying if you're going up against it. Once again, just get a single copy of it if you don't have it already. We'll talk about the summoners later. Death Elemental, I play this card card all the time in bronze. That one magic snipe can take out your opponent's life leech. I can't remember the name of him right away. Venari Bonesmith, I think it is, the one that has, I think, 2 health, and then if you play Thaddeus Fruit, he goes down to 1. You can snipe him and kill him right away. Living Lava, great card. Once again, you only need a single BCX, but with that shield, and then you part with Tarsa, it's got 4 attack. I think this is kind of a 1-star card. You know, if it's it's one of the first cards you want to get if you're getting Untamed cards, you know, and especially if you play Fire, you want to get Living Lava key card. And I love seeing these cards under $1 and actually even under 60 cents. So these cards are so affordable right now. Great card. Definitely must get it if you're playing in bronze. Same goes with Ice Pixie. You know, magic damage is just so key. Plus the flying, very affordable, 2 mana. So, you know, you can fit this in any deck. Okay speed, yes, it's very vulnerable, but, you know, great card to have in your arsenal. Kelp Initiate, another great card you want to get. Anything that's like 2 mana, 1 mana are key cards to get to just help fill out your deck. The more monsters you can put in, the better, especially in low mana. So this thing is great in no melee rule sets with the 5 speed. Put a healer behind this thing and it's going to be very hard to hit, while you can get like your sneak and your opportunity monsters doing a majority of the damage. Elven Mystic, I love this card. Little League, 1 magic damage, neutral. I mean, enough said. You can put this in with Earth and all of a sudden you're doing 2 damage. So once again, just get a single copy of it and you're good to go. Spark Pixies, love it because of flying. It's Little League. It's extremely fast. 2 range damage. Once again, just get a single copy of it. Chimera Princess. If you can get 1 magic damage for 2 mana, you're doing great. And like I said, throw it in with the Earth team. Now you're doing 2 magic damage for 2 mana. Definitely must have. These 2 cards I picked up for my bronze account a couple months ago, and I use them all the time. Unicorn Mustang. This card used to be, what, $3, $4, $5 a BCX. Just awesome. Great tank, fast, 3 melee damage, void. You know, definitely a 1 or 2 star card as far as highlighting it as must have on your list. Want to get the Unicorn Mustang. Same thing with the Shield Bearer. This card was $5, $6, $7, I remember, maybe even more than that, a BCX. I think it might have been as high as 10 during the height of the bull run. So if you can get it now for just over $1, get a single copy of it. You can't go wrong. True Speaker. Look at the price of this. This is actually above the Shield Bearer and Unicorn Mustang. I was kind of surprised that this was this expensive compared to the other cards. It is useful. You do want to get a single copy of it, but I think it might be a little bit high for what it does. I mean, the +2 armor is great, but you can also get the Beta Summoner that gives +1 armor to everyone. So good card, but not necessarily, I think, a must-have if you have other options. Tower Griffin. Kind of surprised that this is the most expensive rare on the lot. But then again, I love it that it's neutral, it's Little League, and it's flying. So those are 3 great things to have on a card. If you can get a Little League card that's neutral, that has a good ability that you can throw in any deck, you know, definitely a good card to have. And I actually had some epics. Well, before we get to the epics, let's go over the summoners. So look at the price of the summoners. And let's not really look at the legendaries for the sake of this. But Contessa, I need to get this to level 2 so I can get it to max bronze. So it's going to take 5 copies. I have a single copy now. I love it. I use it all the time in the ranged only rule sets. Great card to have. Like I said, right now I just need to get it to level 2 and it's very affordable. I only need 4 more copies, so I'm looking at less than $1.50. And I will have a max bronze summoner. Not too big on Mother Kala. Wizard of Eastwood, good card, has its place, especially if you're going to go up against Kalia a lot for that -2 armor. Very affordable, good card to get. Pyre, I've already talked about just getting a single copy of this for that fun deck with Venari Marksrat and the Efreet Elder. So love this card as well. And as you can see, guys, all these summoners are very cheap. And even if you only get a single copy of them, they give your deck so much more versatility. You know, you definitely want to get a single copy if you can, and then just build it up to level 2. Bortus, under $1 for -1 magic. And the magic only rule sets, you know, a lot of times it's going to be your Jin O'Shaughnessy against his. So if you play this card, knock his down -1 magic, a lot of times that'll win you the game. And Drake of Arnak, I love this card just for the +1 armor and the fact that it's a dragon card. Okay, so that being said, let's take a look at, there's actually some epics that are affordable. Now I didn't put all the epics on this list because I wanted to keep this as more of the affordable cards and kind of the cheaper cards for building a bronze deck, but there are a lot of great cards. So I wanted to keep it basically cards that were, you know, $4 or $5 or less, you know, cheaper. So there are just so many good cards here that I wanted to talk about. And one of the first ones, I actually gave it 2 stars, was the Light Elemental. I looked at this card and I'm like, why am I not seeing this in bronze? Look at this card. Little League, 4 mana, 2 magic damage, flying, just a fantastic card. And it's so cheap. I mean, it's 61 cents. I'm just going to buy it right now. I know this is a card that I'm going to use with Gedver, so we're buying this right now. We're going to cross this off the shopping list. You know, to get 1 magic damage on a card is great. To get 2 right off the bat, plus it flies. You know, Life is not my favorite Splinter, but this card is amazing. And if you can get epic cards under $1, I think you really can't go wrong with that. So definitely happy to pick that card up. And like I said, I just want to pick it up now. So as soon as the purchase goes through, we'll go through the remaining epics. Well, let's just kind of look at the list while it's doing that. Another epic I wanted to talk about was Torhillo the Frozen, kind of that bull card. Void is huge. I remember going up against that a lot, because a lot of times if you play blue, you're going to go up against people that play blue and they play magic. So you're going to want that Void. It does 4 melee damage. The only downside is it has 1 speed. But once again, you get those reverse rule sets. What are some other cards to talk about? Shadowy Presence is a good filler card for death. You know, just anytime you can get 1 mana cards, you know, and they're at a pretty good price, go ahead and get the 1 mana cards. They really help fill out your deck. And it's almost like the chicken, where the more cards you can get for the least amount of mana, you know, the more chances you have to win. You know, this is something that's going to take maybe that point of damage other than another card that you have on your deck that you don't want to take damage. So, or this can give you a little bit more time before it gets to the card behind it in your lineup. So don't overlook 1 mana cost cards. Another key card I think you guys should take a look at is Sporcerer. So once again, Earth is big into magic, so this thing right off the bat does 2 magic damage and it has Rust. So that's really going to help. Thunderbird. Okay card. I don't know if I really put it on the list. Flying. I love picking up any cards with flying for bronze because you never know when that Earthquake rule set's going to pop up. One card I know I'd put on the list definitely is Soulstorm. So you're looking at right around $1, which is a great price for an epic. 3 range damage is huge for, you know, a 1 BCX card in bronze. 5 speed means he's going to attack probably first, so he's going to hit your opponent's tank right off the bat. And once again, just flying is just cherry on right on top. You know, you can't beat it. Getting that extra 25% chance of evading an attack. So if you put this in the back, you've got a great blocker, or hopefully a great card that can avoid those sneak attacks. So I think a great overlooked card. Don't see it a whole lot, but I think it's a good card to have. Hero from Beyond. This card I remember too used to be a lot more expensive. Not sure why it's dipped down this much, but a lot of times if you have those, you know, no melee rule sets, you want to put this guy, this is your tank, you know. He's got 1 point of armor, 8 health, good health, 2 range damage. Put General Sloan in there, you're doing 3. He can attack from the front, so good card to have. Good versatile card for those types of matches. Lobsterdamus, once again, you know, good tank. great for the no melee rule sets. He actually has shield, so he's going to take a little bit less damage from ranged and 1 magic damage. One of my cards that I targeted, I think, pretty high on this. Yep, Coral Wraith. Coral Wraith is just awesome. Awesome card, and it's under $2, which I can't believe. Once again, fits in the Little League. Great for the water teams. And just to have sneak is almost always melee. So if you have, no melee, they're going to say, well, you can't attack the back line. There's no melee. Well, you've got 2 magic that can attack the back. I've lost to this card a lot in Bronze. I don't see it very often, but when I do and it's on the opponent's team, I'm like, oh crap, he's got Coral Wraith. So great card to pick up if you guys can. I didn't put Axemaster on the list because I thought he was more expensive than that. But if he is really under $3, definitely he's going to go on the list. And you guys know why. It's the Double Strike. Double Strike, 2 range damage. Yep, I thought he was more expensive than that, so I didn't put him on the list. And I think it's because, yep, there weren't very many copies available, as you can see. I think the cheapest copy I saw before was like $3 or $4. So don't know if these will be available when this video goes live, but if you can get this card for under $3, it might be a good idea to do so. So I'm gonna put that down, Axemaster, because of the 2 ranged and Double Strike. And if you can get it under $4, actually, yeah, if you can get it under 3, even better. But yeah, if you can get it under $3, go ahead and grab a copy of that. Okay, so now let's wrap up the video just looking at dice. There's not very many cards in the dice set. Altogether, it's what, 25 cards? So just wanted to go through real quick on the dice cards and what cards I think are great to target. A lot of these are just kind of for the commons. The one common I would kind of look at is the Battering Ram. Low mana, very cheap, it's neutral, opportunity, you almost can't go wrong. I mean, it's not a strong card, but for what it is, for what it can fill in your deck, it's not bad. If you can get a 1 opportunity damage in there, great. And on reverse rules speed, even better. So Battering Ram's a decent card. And like I said, for 10-11 cents, you can't really go wrong. I put Flamesmith on the list just because, there's not a super ton of cards out there with Shatter. So it is a little bit more expensive, but if you're worried about going up against, the tank on the opponent's team that has a ton of armor, especially, if you're like, for some reason, you're going to come up against Mantaroth in Bronze, or any tank, Shield Bearer or whatever. If you can shatter their armor, just get a single BCX of this card, and that's great. 2 cards I wanted to talk about. There are epics, but I think these are cards that may be due for a spike sometime soon, are the Mistress and the Grenadier, because there's a lot of cards now that I think are going to have a press, especially in the front line. So these things do double damage against a press, or do double damage against enemies that have no attacks. So even with weapons training, a press will affect those cards. So, the Mistress is great because it has magic damage, it's going to hit. Grenadier, it's ranged. I know not everyone is a fan of ranged, but it's a lot cheaper and it's neutral. So just wanted to point these 2 cards out. If you're worried going up against what, Grimbard Smith, with the no attacks, these might be 2 cards that you can use without a press to do some damage. As far as summoners go, Ouster, under $1, Magic Reflect, playing in Bronze, just get 1 copy of it. Especially, in Bronze Wild, it's all about choices, it's all about variety. If you can get him under $1, great card. Bright and Bloom. How many times have I talked in this video about flying? This gives everybody flying. Just get a single copy of it. You can win this game alone if you go up against, in the Earthquake rule set, if you have a Bright and Bloom and your opponent doesn't, even if you only have this at level 1. Lorna Shine, same thing. Under $2, fantastic summoner with that Divine Shield. Used to be way more expensive. Take advantage of it now while it's this cheap. Just get a single copy of it and worry about leveling it later. And finally, the card everyone knows, Mylar. Okay, how expensive was Mylar? I'm trying to remember. I remember he was at least 20 some bucks or more, maybe even 30 per BCX. he was ridiculously expensive. People still play Mylor. You'll still see him in bronze. If you can afford and get a copy under $4 and it's in your budget, why not? I mean, there's a lot of copies in here, 350 to 360. So, you know, if you're playing in bronze and it's like you lose to Mylor other time and wish you could pick up a copy, I don't know if it's going to get much cheaper than that. So you guys know all about this card. And like I said, I wanted to keep this list to mainly cards, you know, a couple bucks or less. He's a little bit above that price range, but still. Just wanted to point out the fact that he is there and he is available if you are looking for him. So those are the ones that I wanted to talk about. Oh, one final card. Did I overlook the Dragon Spirit? Let's look at epics. This card. This card is interesting. It's under $1, so it's very affordable. Little League card. Of course, you do have to play Dragon, but has flying, so it's great in the Earthquake rule set. Has no attacks, so it's great in the, you know, you can't play melee or any of that. And look at the speed, 5 speed, 6 health. So not a must-have card, but if you're playing Dragon and, you know, just want to pick up an affordable card, you know, for under $1 and it is an epic, this is another card that you may want to look at. So I think that's the last card that I want to talk about today. So we went through Untamed and we went through Dice. Next time, of course, look what's next on the list. Everyone's favorite set that everyone says was overprinted to oblivion until it won't be in the next few years. But next time we will talk about Chaos Legion. We'll go through all the reward cards, the promos, and the core. And if time, we will go through Rift Watchers. If not, Rift Watchers will be in part 4. So definitely stay tuned for Chaos Legion coming up probably in the next couple of days once I can do a deep dive of that set. So there you have it, guys. So just to kind of recap a lot of the cards, let me put this on the screen so if you guys want to pause the video, you can take a look at the comments from Untamed, the card name, and the reasons why I think it is a good card to have. If you need the card at level 3, I have highlighted that. For the Untamed commons, I think the ones you want to look at level 3 are the Herbalist to get the Cleanse, the Parasitic Growth to get to level 3 for that 2 damage instead of 1, and the Feasting Seaweed. If you want to get that to level 3, that will give you 3 damage as opposed to 2. So those are the commons. Let me scroll down to the rares so you guys can see that. So a lot of great cards in Untamed. Like I said, a lot of these you only need a single copy of. Don't worry about getting it too high of a level. You don't really need to get these cards to level 2. The only one that I highlighted that you may want to get to level 2 would be the Luminous Eagle, simply because at level 2 it does get an extra attack, so it goes from 2 to 3. So if that's important, you know, it will cost you 4 more copies, but you can go ahead, get that to level 2 and get that extra +1 melee. So there are the rares. And then scroll down so you guys can see the list of epics. So these are the epics that I went over and the reasons why. And then finally, let me just get rid of this so you guys can see this all on one screen so it's easy for you. And then the dice cards, you know, just a couple of the commons, the rest of them I wouldn't worry about. The summoners, you know, just get a single copy of those. And actually, the 3 epics I think are very affordable and very overlooked. So hope you guys found this video useful. Hope it helps you fight in Bronze Wild. As always, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for all the views. And stay tuned for the Chaos Legion shopping list, which will be next. I'm going to be busy the next few days going and making content for you guys. So hope you appreciate it. And as always, stay the course, keep on forging, and more importantly, have fun. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon.